Hello, everyone. Happy Easter, or at least happy Sunday to you. It's a beautiful day. I haven't seen a beautiful, it's not warm, but it's not freezing uh, Easter in years. I mean, at least before the shutdown in 2020, I've seen almost every Easter has been dark, rainy, sometimes ice on the ground. One Easter, I remember Easter 2020 was total dark with ice and rain all day. And I just remember the house was dark and I don't know, whatever. That was kind of a miserable Easter. Well, today is beautiful. However, I'm in between shifts. I work a double shift today. So, but whatever. It is a beautiful day. And I hope you guys are all celebrating and with family. To console myself, I bought a coconut cake and some lemon curd. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy. It's all good, I do work, but whatever, that's life. I feel like I've worked every holiday this year. I've worked besides Christmas, but whatever. Okay, moving on from that. I'm staying positive about everything. So I'll go through this today. I know you guys have all seen this where people were like last night. Okay, I actually had yesterday off, which is rare. So after I did my readings on the lives, I watched. What did I watch? Yeah, I watched some old British show that I love and had made some stir fry rice and just let myself chill. I let myself chill. But I was also reading the news on social media and there was all these posts about did 45 uh, die? Was he at Walter Reed? And it was like rumors, breaking news, 45 is at Walter Reed. And then another one, guys, I live near Walter Reed. There's no action. He's not at Walter Reed. Another one said, the press pool outside the White House says he's locked in the whatever the Oval Office situation or whatever it is all day, not taking any press, not taking. And as you know, on my live yesterday, I said what I really felt was happening was he was trying to wrap up this whole war that he started, and also get the POWs home that were shot down. Um, Now this morning he made a huge post, and also I feel like they were bringing up the 25th to remove him from office. That there's rumors, especially with all these firings and all this crazy erratic actions going on. People have brought up the 25th, and that's to remove him from office. Which, hello, that should have happened already, and that's making him insane. I got a vision of him being like the Tasmanian devil running around in circles in the White House and them trying to subdue him. And I do wonder if they even did subdue him with some sort of injection or medication. And of course, we know he falls asleep. Um, I do feel like they were frantically trying to make negotiations, but as I said before, he doesn't do negotiations. It all has to be his way or no way. So he'll burn the whole country down. He will get, and now, okay, so this morning, so clearly he's not dead, but there really is no proof of life, but he's not dead. And he did write some crazy posts, and one of them was that, oh, we brought home, or we saved the downed fighter pilots, we saved them, but he didn't. It was reported that he didn't. We don't actually have them in custody, so they're still POWs. And we know how he feels about POWs. So that was not true. And I do feel like he was trying to wrap it up by today so that he could say, God bless me. Because I feel like he doesn't want to compare himself to Jesus. He wants to say he's God. He's above Jesus. That's what he's trying to say. And that God has blessed him and he has special powers and yeah. He really wanted to do that. But the evidence was that these fighter pilots were not recovered yet. They do not have them yet. And then he wrote some other crazy post that said something like, um, that open up the freaking, he used the F word, the full F word, open up the freaking Strait of Hormuz. That's our oil, all that stuff. And then he said, praise to Allah. Now that's where I'm like, all right, let's do the 25th. Let's get him out of office. This has gone on long enough. I have nothing against anyone in that religion, which I believe is Muslim, but he does. He does. He's persecuted Muslims. He even keeps saying things like every time he talks about Obama and he said he was a Muslim and would say Barack Hussein Obama and try to like tie him with 9/11 and all that crap. And meanwhile, he's 45 is the one making deals and accepting planes from the 9/11 people. So so now he's saying praise to Allah, and I guess they try to make another post to whitewash it and say praise to God. No, we already all saw the post. Now the thing is, did he really write it? And if he didn't write it, who is writing his posts? I really wonder that. And where is the proof of life? Like, he wasn't at Walter Reed, but is there something wrong with 45? Um, we've all of us have felt that he wouldn't be around. I've always said this. I've said he has months, and that doesn't mean he's going to die, but he'll be incapacitated by some means, like just out. I just said out of power, out of capability to run the country, and you kind of can see that mentally he's having a mental break, and can't handle the job anymore. So I don't know. I just thought I would talk about that. Where I saw that in the Oval Office, it wasn't that he was sick; it's that he's mentally sick, and not listening to people, and won't accept any deals that would be beneficial unless they're beneficial for his ego, which no one can do that because he really thinks he's God. So how do you deal with someone who thinks you're never going to be able to make a deal that's good enough for them? Um, which is why he should be removed from office, because it's never going to work. It's never going to be okay. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Um, and then he wrote, or did he? Somebody wrote a post that said Tuesday, 8 o'clock, which is what? TikTok, he's going to hit some nuclear facilities and start a nuclear war. Now, I do believe, like other psychics have said, that the intergalactic beings or just heavenly beings will step in. But at the same time, I feel like they can't always save us. We have to save us too. And that's where I feel like somebody has to do something about 45, as i.e., the 25th, remove him from office in a legal way because he's insane. And I don't like Vance, but I guess we'll have to take Vance for a while if it comes to that. But honestly, how can we do this anymore? How can we let him run the country anymore? He's running us into the ground, basically. It's Jim Jones and whatever. Happy Easter. Let's not talk about that. Now I'll talk about a peaceful message that I received. And you should go watch Loretta's channel. She changed the name of her channel, but it was Mother's Tarot. So if you look that up, it probably still shows in YouTube as Mother's Tarot. It's a Loretta, our sweet Loretta. And she had an Easter message from Edgar Casey. As I was driving home from work last night, I was getting a message about Easter too. Not Edgar Casey, but I thought I would share. But listen to hers. Go listen to her video that she made for Easter. But this is a message that I got, and it's something that not a lot of us want to hear. But you know how, me included, myself included, when you see Maga now on social media, or maybe it's your friends, family, whatnot, and they say, I was wrong. I voted for 45 3 times, and I was wrong. And then a lot of people, and maybe we feel inside ourselves, but a lot of people say, well, too bad. I'm not going to give you a pass on this because you should have known better. You had 10 years and 3 chances. And really, it was blatantly obvious that 45 was, I saw it from the beginning that he was like Hitler. And what he was going to do was just like Hitler. And it was based on racism and sexism and greed. And he was just going to run the country into the ground, basically. I saw he was a narcissist and all those things. So I could never vote for him ever. And I tried all the time, every day, to convince people to see the truth and not to vote for him because he was a bad person. He was a horrible person, and nobody would listen. In fact, it seemed like the more I spoke on social media, like back then it would be Facebook, the more people said they would vote for him. So we was just like talking to the wind, and I just was like, wow, they're not going to change. No one's ever going to listen. And so, yeah, these people have had many chances. However, people formerly Maga, former Trump supporters who voted for him, this is what the message I got, and I do believe it's from Jesus, is that, when Jesus died and rose again, which would be today, right? I believe he would have died on Friday. Good Friday, and then he was crucified, and then today is the day that he was seen as an apparition, that he came back to life, which really, he came back to life as his spirit was alive. He showed us that his soul was alive, that it was only the flesh that died. His soul, his body was alive with the light of the universe, of God, of the divine. And he came back to show us that. Now, I've seen things in my life that were very similar, not Jesus, but I have had Jesus moments, but that were like seeing spirit and evidence of spirit, evidence of that we are light. Like I've talked about, our stars is on the inside, and we radiate it out, and that's 11. We're all connected. So Maga, Maga forgot that we're all connected to this light, and they were seeking a false light in 45, false power, false love, false adoration, mostly based on ego. And then they changed finally. Not all of them, but the ones who have changed, instead of damning them, we need to understand that when Jesus died, the man who's Jesus didn't have to be religious. He was a guy, okay? That the message he showed was that heaven, the divine, was really seeing that we're all connected, that we're all connected to the light, and that forgiveness is what is the opening of our heart for each other. And when people leave, like Maga leaves 45, leave that ego-based, desire, false prophet, they become reborn. They drop away from the darkness and the ego, and they are reborn into the truth of the light. They are strangers in a new land, seeking forgiveness. They're new travelers. And it is up to us to show them the way. And that is through our actions, and it is through patience, and ultimately love. We don't have to love what they did, but now it is time. They are strangers in a new land, and we must show them the way, because now they're seeking, like all of us, they're new on the journey in a new land. They're fresh, they're new, they're reborn, and they're seeking the new way. And that is our job. And that is what forgiveness is. It's hard, but that's what we are supposed to do. So when you have Maga and they come on, they say, man, I was so wrong. And maybe it's money. Maybe it was their neighbor was taken by, icy roads, whatnot, whatever. But as long as they are now awoken, it really is up to us to show them how things are, the truth, which is that we're all connected. And it's something today I was thinking about how one day I remember I was at work at the library when I worked at the library, and I was having all these sort of like spiritual, thought, philosophical things. And I thought, why is it that, we've always been taught that God can hear all of us? Like, how could God possibly, I never understood that concept. Like, how could God hear me and my prayer and then the next person and then blah, blah, blah. It's too many people. And I thought, well, maybe it's because there's no time. Maybe because there's no time, really, on the other side, it's just a human concept here. But on the other side, there's no time. So maybe there's all the time in the world. But really what I realized today was that it's not just that. It's that through the light, we're all connected. We are technically all one. We're all part of Source. And so we're more alike in having similar experiences than we realize. We all think that we're, one person having one experience on one timeline, one lifeline. But really, we're all having a collective experience. If you listen to astrological signs, many times we're going through things together. So it is true that what I think happens is God, the divine, what have you, Source, the light, it all is one being that we're part of. We're part of that. We're God. We're essentially God. We're all together in that. We're the light. And so the reason we are heard is because we're all connected, like a phone line, that we're all connected. It's really hard. I know it's a big concept, but that's how we are heard and understood and listened to. And when you tap in, it becomes more, we're more heard. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, I just thought it was